Welcome everyone to this Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program Release 1.0. Now Bob and I are out at KSC today to harvest all of the amazing science that can be found all around KSC. And we're going to do that with the help of X Science. Now we can put a filter into the X Science window and we can look at all of the science that can be found around the KSC Shores biome, and we can have a look at all of the experiments available on this vessel, and you can see there are rather a lot, and that is just for Bob on his own outside of his craft. So we're going to pop inside, so let's get all boarded up and have a look at all of that wonderful science that this science harvester can get. And there's rather a lot. Now, most of these experiments aren't worth very much, but right down here at the bottom there are a lot of surface samples we haven't got, and they're all worth 12. So if I can collect all of those, plus all of the other experiments that are crammed onto this vessel, we're going to be doing very, very well. Now, a few of these we've done, and a few of them are only worth 1.5, but if we collect them all, I reckon we've got 400 to 500 experience points still to get. So, X Science to the rescue. Let's get our science alert and see what's still available on the runway. So if we switch to show experiments available right now, let's do a temperature scan, hydrogen scan, laser scan, and atmospheric pressure scan. So let's keep all of these. There we go. We've got 1.8 science from the laser scan, 2.4 from the temperature scan, 3.6 from the atmospheric scan, and another 1.8. There we go. So let's take all of those. Now we've also got those EVA and surface samples. So let's do the EVA. Poor old Bob sliding down the rails there, but let's just do the surface sample. That's going to get us 9 science, so we'll take that, and an EVA report. Not much left from the EVA report, 0 science, so let's just plug that away. Let's get back on board. And that's most of the science collected from the runway with the experiments that we've unlocked. Now I'm going to head on out towards the main part of KSC, and let's just see some of the more interesting places we can get science. Now, not only can you get science from the spaceplane hangar, but if you come round the spaceplane hangar onto this little ramp, which we seem to be sliding down, you can get a whole load more science right here. Now, if you get really, really close to some of these buildings, you can also get science from inside the building itself. I say inside the building, the actual definition is the VAB's main building. The VAB biome is the sort of tarmac area around the outside, but the VAB building itself, you've got to get really close. Now, that might increase, its sphere of influence might increase as you upgrade the building, but at least at this early stage, you have to get pretty close. There is also science to be had on the crawlerway, so let's take a temperature scan, hydrogen scan, mystery goo, laser, EVA, and all our other experiments. Of course, your very first mission should be to take the basic science straight off the launch pad, but we've unlocked some additional experiments since then, so I'm going to do those now. Next up is the tracking station. Now this has quite a few biomes. Technically these transmitters will become biomes, but their sphere of influence is so tiny at this point you physically can't get close enough to them. So let's just take the main tracking station science. So let's do all of that now. We'll do the EVA report last. Let's just transmit what we can. So let's keep all the partials and transmit all those that are 100% recoverable. Let's do the EVA report. Do that now. We'll keep that. And the surface sample, we'll keep that. Now, one of the reasons we've got Bob is that Bob needs to reset all these experiments. So we'll take the data, restore that experiment, We will take the data out of the Science Junior and we will restore that. So let's get Bob back on board. Not all experiments need to be reset. Some of them, if you transmit the data, will reset themselves. So do bear that in mind. So let's do the surface hydrogen scan and the laser scan. We'll transmit that, and we'll transmit that. And next we're going to go to a very, very tricky biome, particularly with the tracking station in such disrepair as they are in the middle of upgrading it. You have to get really, really close to some of these buildings to get their very, very tiny amount of science, but we're going to get it because we're completionists. We're a bit like that. And one of the easiest places to get to it is just around this corner. The awnings and scaffolding part and make way for a wall, and we can get right up close. So let's go really slowly, because the other problem with this buggy is finding yourself nose on to the wall and just not being able to turn. So it's important to go very, very slowly and just scrape the side of the building without actually getting yourself stuck. So let's get in around this edge here. Get ready to put the brakes on when we get inside its little bubble of influence. Get right in. There we go. So just touching the building, we get a whole new load of science for the tracking station hub. So let's do all that science again. Next up is the R&D centre, and there are a lot of biomes. However, you really have to get up close and personal with quite a lot of these buildings to get anywhere near all of it. But let's just start off with the main R&D area. So again, we have a heck of a lot of experiments to do. Now, if you get really close to any of these buildings here, you'll find yourself in the main building biome. So let's take all of this science. Bob's made it to the administration building, and again there's a whole series of experiments to do, so let's crack on. The penultimate stop on our journey for Bob is the astronaut complex. Our final stop for today is the flagpole. The flagpole is its own biome, so we've got a complete suite of experiments to do, so let's do them all. As usual, we'll leave the AVA till last. Now, I like to transmit those that are 100%, so let's do that. We'll keep that one, transmit that. You can see them all popping in here. Notice that when you transmit an experiment, it actually blanks out the little lozenge here, and then it'll fill it back in once the transmission's complete. That took me a few tries to work that out. So let's keep that, transmit that one. Let's do the EVA report. Here we go. Bob sliding down the ladder as usual. So surface sample as he reaches down, so we'll keep that. EVA, we'll keep that. And then we will, using Bob's skill as a scientist, we will take that data and reset the experiment. The same for the Science Junior. Take and restore. And our pressure and temperature sensors, we will do the same there. So let's do that. Let's board up. There we go. Now we have one experiment left that I must have missed. So let's take that laser surface scan. Now the laser surface scan takes a lot of power, so it's actually taken me several trips to complete this round. But let's send that. And that's pretty much it for today. Pretty much it for Bob's experiments today. He's done pretty well. As you can see, there are a lot of experiments now done. There's a few bits and pieces still to do, which we will pick off in due course. So with that said, I'd like to thank you for watching this excellent job done by Bob, and we will tot up the total amount of science in the next episode. Take care. Bye bye.